Right here we have Luke going for 500 pounds on the reverse band deadlift. Let's check out his performance and how well he does with the bands hanging from the top all the way down to the bottom at that barbell. Clean execution of the deadlift right here. He got the lockout, everything looks successful, but why do we use the bands? Welcome to harvestingstrength.com. Let's talk more about his performance and the use of this movement. All right, hey guys, welcome to Harvesting Strength. Right here, we're doing a video on the reverse band deadlift. So something you notice in the video is the bands are hanging from the top. So usually we see bands from the bottom, and either way, it's still the same concept. The weight is lighter at the bottom, but then gets tremendously heavier at the top. Now, if I could go back in time and change the word tremendously, I would have said it changes to the top, because it does depend on the kind of band you use. In the video you saw earlier, the bands looked thin, although they're black, and sometimes different bands, the black bands are thicker or whatnot. Regardless of that, the size differences are really based on, visually what you can see on the band. So these bands are hanging from the top, they come down to the bar, and they're going to assist the bottom of the lift. Now, the reason why I enjoy the reverse band deadlift, okay, first thing I like about it is that the shift in weight, at least how I use it with a lighter band, the shift in weight isn't too dramatic. So it's a little bit more realistic. So what I like about that, and what I'm trying to say is, when I hang these mini or small bands, okay, the lighter the band, the lighter the assistant it is, or the assisting component it is. So when these light bands are being hung down and you're pulling off the ground, yes, you're gonna come off the ground with a lot more speed. So that is a good thing. And plus, if you're trying to cycle into your peaking phase and the weight's a little bit lighter at the bottom, it might help just improve mechanics and give you that little boost so that you feel like, oh, if I'm, deadlifting, although it's reverse band, although I'm deadlifting 500 and I'm getting a little assistance off the bottom, it just maybe adds a little bit more confidence to the whole mindset of, I've done it before and then I can do it again. So, when it comes down to the first feature of it, I do like that it assists off the bottom a little bit. And then, the second thing, which kind of relates to the first thing, is as you lock out, you're really having to learn how to lock out stronger. And what it also entails too is, as the weight comes up, the slack starts to happen as well. So then you have to go from being a little bit more explosive off the bottom because it's a lighter band, being explosive, to then feeling, oh my gosh, this is heavy weight. This is 500 pounds, 600 pounds, 800 pounds, whatever it is, you're starting to feel it. So it kind of relates to the whole concept of transitional speed, being better at that. And I guess if I was to put a third thing I like about the hanging band deadlift, okay, is that I guess it's just a little bit more realistic. I'm not knocking down programs that use different movements and different modes of exercise. So if you're the person who likes to pull off the blocks, if you like to pull off the rack, if you like to do chains or, band resisted off the floor, that's totally fine. And I bet if, we went through all these different avenues, we'd still have, similar end results where everyone's still being successful. But just for me and my experience, I really do think that if you want to be a better deadlifter, you got to just really traditionally deadlift and then add those modifications of hanging bands, band resisted chains. I'm not really a big fan of the block pulls and the rack pulls. But then again, that's just my preference and that's just my experience. I just feel like when it came to me and it came to the people I worked with, the transition of pulling elevated didn't really translate or go into, their deadlift max. But again, that's me. It doesn't have to be you guys too. So let's look at this video again. Let's break some stuff down, and then let's talk about just, again, the positives that I enjoy about that reverse band deadlift. All right, so right here, we got the bands hanging from the top down to the barbell. I like for him to use lighter bands so that it's not such an exaggerated change in speed like we talked about, or rather strength. But he pulls off the ground. That's where most of the assistance is going to occur. And then as he comes up, he feels more and more of the weight and has to push those hips through. That's the big thing. We want to work the lockout and get the hips strong. We've been working his hips with horizontal resistance to get that lockout, but now I want to apply specificity with the movement in general. So if you see the movement in clean, real time, he yanks the bar off the ground, he feels the natural weight, but then he has to fight against it. So that's why this movement is successful for what we're trying to do. All right, guys, welcome back. So essentially you saw the little breakdowns of the video. In the end, okay, reverse band deadlifts, you should not be doing those all the time. So you got to really plan things out. So one of the things I posted before was having to do with the peaking phase and having a plan. So if you have one lifter who shows up to the gym and is extremely strong, and then you have another person who shows up to the gym and might not be as strong, but they always have a plan, I feel like this person is going to show more success. Now, who deadlifts more? Not sure. That just kind of depends on, who we are actually talking about. But let's say they go from being, a 700-pound deadlifter and they go up to 720, but then this person goes from 480 to 555. Again, they're arbitrarily done numbers, but that's just how I believe in the programming aspect of things. It's better to have a plan than no plan at all. So when you have these different people and these different, strength enthusiasts or ambassadors, different programs, they're all, great, and they all have their own style and whatnot, but at least they provide a plan. So it's great to promote those people and for what they do. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially to elicit growth and development of someone who's tremendously strong when you think they're about to hit that ceiling effect and maybe not exceed any more values. So make sure and understand that. But nonetheless, we broke down the video, we talked about it, and like I said, don't always reverse band deadlift. That might be the last month you do deadlifting, okay? There might be some exclusions otherwise, but to get a little sneak peek into something I do, okay, is when I work with the athletes, that first month, we're just doing traditional deadlifting, maybe a minor deficit with the speed component, and then working some bands as well, but then also using specificity for certain exercise selection. If you want to be a better deadlifter, we want to find different movements that physiologically represent the deadlift and have that little translation factor. So, bent rows or dead bent rows, stuff like that. Then that second month, I really hone in, okay, on doubles and singles, multiple sets, less rest, really hitting hard the bands, and then working, a lot of the hip movements and just being really good and explosive. So the first phase, that first month's more strength-based, the second month's more power-based, and then that final month is all the finesse, okay? We're talking about the hanging band or reverse band deadlifts, isometric pulls, or not pulls, isodynamic pulls, really light sub-max weight just for tons of singles, and just really, really getting that growth in to really hit that peak. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope a lot of information resonates with you and that you guys can take something from it. If you have more questions, concerns, want to talk more about lifting, check out my website, harvestingstrength.com. Check out my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok, J_Lucero89, and let's get a conversation going.